Just wanted to share some thoughts on the upcoming election. I see on my watch it is now 8 days away, so next week Monday we have a long weekend, yay! But we also have to go and vote. And if you've never voted before, it is a local government election, so you are voting for who will be your councillor and who will probably be your mayor. So your mayor is going to be elected in the first council meeting by everyone else who gets elected. I'm sitting in the car, that's why the light keeps moving. I think it's the clouds. It's a little bit drizzly today. Anyway, you're going to get 2 ballot papers, one for a councillor and one for the party. And I just wanted to say that I am a big fan of actually splitting my vote. So not necessarily giving both votes to one party if they don't deserve it. And quite frankly, I don't. Frankly, I don't think any of the parties deserve it. I think that too many of the national party leaders are too busy talking nonsense about things that are not actually local government issues. For example, the ACDP. I just drove past the posters right now, and if you're a rational person, you would think that they are pro-abortion. But no. Freedom of choice actually refers to vaccinations, according to them. You would think that Jesus didn't say love thy neighbor, and that actually vaccinating is how you love thy neighbor during a pandemic so that the pandemic can end for the 8 billion people who live on this planet. But no, religious people anyway. And then let's not get started on the DA, the ANC, the EFF, how the hell land has to do with land and bursaries have to do with local government elections. The DA that just keeps mentioning the ANC. Then we have Good, which frankly, Good is featuring in the Western Cape. And quite frankly, I find everything about their branding repulsive. From the orange to the party name that makes no sense, to the boxing gloves on the posters, to the landscape instead of portrait lampposts posters. No. Everything is just so weird. But I do like the mayoral candidate though. And I do think that he's the most experienced mayoral candidate. And what he tried to bring to the city previously is exactly what the city needs. We need functional public transport. We need diverse communities. I've just driven through, we need housing actually. We don't have enough housing in the city. We don't have nearly enough affordable housing. There's a huge mismatch between the salaries and the cost of housing in the city. I actually just drove past my childhood home earlier, and when I refer to my childhood home, I'm talking about the home that I lived in for the first 10 years of my life, roughly 10 years of my life. And it's in an area that was not historically for white people. My current home is in an area that was historically for white people, and quite honestly, the difference is stark. Like the amount of potholes in that street, and the potholes in those pavements. I used to walk to school on those pavements. I used to walk around the neighborhood. I used to walk and play in the street with the kids, and there was always a cricket match happening in the street. But just the state of the street, the state of the pavements, the fact that there was no life on the streets anymore. It felt so unsafe because everybody suddenly had these high walls when we used to actually walk on those walls because the walls used to be so low. The walls used to be less than a meter. Now everybody's got fences and walls and you can barely see the houses, and it just makes me so sad. It made me think about how the DA just really doesn't deliver for everyone. Yes, Cape Town is the best run city, but only in the areas that the tourists frequent, and that doesn't work. And as Rafiel keeps talking about on the morning show, the touristy parts of the city and the business parts of the city rely on the population that lives in the not so nice parts of the city. Because those are the waiters and the cleaners and the security and the lower paid workers, not necessarily lower paid, you know what I mean, secretaries, and it's just sad. Like, I actually want to live in a city that works for everybody, and where everybody has opportunities, and where everyone can have a dignified life. That is what I actually want in my country, in my lifetime. So if you haven't figured it out yet, I am an undecided voter. I was a DA member and a DA supporter. In fact, I've actually volunteered during past elections, so I actually understand the process a little bit better than the average person. I've volunteered at voting stations. Um, I've been in the control room for the ward where we have to send in the stats. I've done door to door to try and get people registered. I've registered people for special votes. I've been in the panel where we choose to give input on who to be the council candidates. So I understand things a little better than the others. I've also worked for the city, so I actually understand what the city can do and the limitations of the councillor. And yeah, I am an undecided voter. We'll see what happens on the 1st. But inform yourself and please go and vote.